Today we will be talking about chlorine and lead in tap water that we drink. The first step is, where does tap water come from? Tap water comes from the sewer, rivers, ponds, and the water within the ground and under the ground. So here we just have some pictures of where we might find the water that we drink. Only 2% of the Earth's water is potable. Potable is one of your vocabulary words. All the vocabulary words will be highlighted in yellow. And potable means drinkable, safe to drink. So here is that chart I was telling you all about in the Teachback. It's just a very detailed filtration cycle of the water. You can pause it to read more about it if you would like. So the first element we will be talking about is chlorine. So chlorine is a toxic, irritant, pale green gas. Most people think of chlorine in people's pools to clean the pool as it does. It cleans bacteria and microbiological organisms. Microbiological organisms are very small living things such as fungus and bacteria, as it says. So in a pool, chlorine is a chalky white block or whatever, but in its natural state it is a pale green gas. How does chlorine affect the environment? Chlorine itself has a very low level of harm. However, when it reacts with other chemicals in the air and in the water, that's when it becomes the most dangerous. The next element we have is lead. Lead, as you see here on the right, looks black and solid. You might think of it from lead in your pencil. However, when it is first cut, it is a light blue color, but when it reacts to the air, it turns much darker. Lead is never safe for consumption. The way it gets into our water, though, is through the lead piping. In older homes especially, but in pipes that are made from lead, and if they're corrosive, which is a vocabulary word, it means the act of corroding, which is wearing away. So if the pipes are old and corrosive, well then the water is easily contaminated through those pipes. How does lead affect the environment? Lead pollutes the air and the soil. As you can see here on the top picture, the soil, there's a farm maybe next to a big road, if this road was more busy. Cars emit the lead within them, which then the soil absorbs because it is in the air. When we plant crops in that soil, those crops then have lead poisoning because of the soil that they are growing in is contaminated with lead. Lead moves through the ecosystem, so if an animal eats something with lead in it, then it goes and poops in an area, which then goes through the soil, which then the same thing as the soil, we plant something there, or something grows, which then we consume, means we have a little bit of lead poisoning. Lead is also very damaging to the organs in animals and in humans. So here we just have a picture of some of the organs that can be affected, especially the liver.